Burn is dead. Well, kind of is, it kind of isn't, because it's a little bit more complicated than that, to be honest. So let's break it down, why opening Pandora's box and nailing it shut is a problem, and how it now matches up with the same builds and which ones are going to take its place. First off though, let's discuss the patch, I mean nerf. It's an understandable one, to be honest, but it's basically gone down like a lead balloon within the community at the moment. Patches are always fraught with danger by any dev team, but bringing a huge game changing patch so soon brings a feeling of Anthem. Let's not forget this is a live service looter shooter which do live and die by the builds within them and their accessibility to them, and Burn had outright become the single best option no matter the level of content. For this reason, it makes it an instant hit for any dev team to try and tune up, as it's clearly put its head above the surface, but the fact that this came from a potential bug, these are generally better to quash earlier rather than later, mainly due to the wide-reaching issues they could cause to the rest of the game if left untouched. However, the main issue with this from the community is that a ton of accessibility and connectivity based issues seemingly have gone by the wayside, as seen in the Reddit and Discord server troubleshooting sections. Issues like being unable to log in, being kicked from game sessions, not able to squad up with your friends, and gear literally losing perks all seem like way bigger issues and probably should have took priority to a first patch than dialing the player's abilities back a touch. Now this likely isn't the case, as mentioned by numerous members of the development team over on Reddit and Discord, but still, it does sting a little when it's read on its own. That's the thing, Rocksteady are only just taking baby steps into the games as a live service environment, but the main problem is that they took a massive plunge into the deep end, and should really be taking leaves out of multiple books from both successful and failed live service games at this point, making positive first impressions and really buttering up this passionate community who are seemingly craving something to hook onto and throw their full support behind it. Yet with this first patch specifically, I can't help but feel it's caused more bad than good. Let's not forget that the burn nerf really means nothing at the end of the day, because generally it was all tied to leaderboards, which are effectively being reset as a result of the nerf, bringing into questions as to if the nerf was really required so soon in the first place, especially when leaderboards are meant to be reset on a seasonal basis, with the new Season 1 only due in just a few weeks. Not only did we have a nerf to burn, but an XP leveling cheese has also been hit with the nerf hammer, and on top of this there wasn't a single positive thing in the first patch that benefited the player base at large, mainly targeting the things that we've already gone through. I've heard some people say maybe drop a cosmetic skin or something, which let's be honest isn't realistic, but given the somewhat cold reception Suicide Squad has had since its launch, it could definitely have done with something to write home about. Maybe increase XP drops from mission completions, add a new endgame mission type into the rotation, or something, literally anything at this point. Rocksteady need to have a few wins, and honestly maybe the upcoming battle pass with Season 1 and the Joker update may hit it out of the park, which quite frankly is exactly what it needs, but effectively nerfing what is really one of only two viable endgame build options isn't the way to go in my opinion. Burn is quite literally dead though, going from feedback in the community and based on my own non-scientific testing, it just feels kinda bad to use right now. Granted, Venom Frenzy, which also has a pretty wild bug of its own, which can to an extent make the game practically unplayable, as enemies become indistinguishable from each other as they mould into green streaks of moving goo. And like I say, Venom Frenzy is meant to be the flavour of the month thanks to the Bane Infamy sets, Notorious Black Mass sets and the villain based synergies these can offer, but still, variety is the spice of life, and clearly Burn was just a little bit too hot. Now I was doing some testing on these enemies at the makeshift shooting range at the Hall of Justice, just to see how much tick damage they do, so hopefully I saved the footage just to show you right now. However, now post nerf they only tick for a measly 200 damage. Which, let's be honest, it's just bad. Nobody in their right mind is going to use Burn now, it's literally a Pandora's box moment for the sandbox and the community, and once you've seen what it can be, it's virtually impossible to go back. Yes, you can still make it work, but combined with the fix to scaling and the now increased enemy health gates at mastery levels 43 and above, it's just not going to hit the same. So that brings us on to the next section of the video that I like to call what else can I crutch on now that my burn build is dead but I still need to get that gold plated cosmetic armor set from the Finite Crisis rank 100. So alternate builds, what have we got? Venom's good, but we all know that. It's literally thrust in your face as soon as you hit the end game. Livewire is a thing, literally just a thing. I'm sure its time will come, but its time is not right now. And that then leaves us with Freeze. Freeze is, well, kinda mid right now. Don't get me wrong, it's great for crowd control, much like some of the super niche slow motion abilities you can get going. But otherwise, I just don't see Freeze offering enough right now in the endgame, mainly due to the limited build crafting options we have for it, and the fact that we've literally have Venom Frenzy gifted to you on a silver platter with all the bells and whistles for good measure. Freeze is however probably the most viable alternative right now in Suicide Squad, that is until it too gets whacked by the nerf hammer. We are likely to see a number of patches, buffs, nerfs and fixes on what looks like a bumpy road ahead for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, but for now pour one out for Burn, a build that was taken from us all too soon. And just like magic, we got the latest weekly developer update just as I was about to upload this video. Fortunately, it doesn't really change anything that we've gone through, but it does open up a few future planned updates that they are working on, and nothing mentions the Burn nerf being reverted unfortunately. All future weekly dev updates are going to be placed on the Suicide Squad Games website, which is great accessibility wise, seeing as so not everybody is on Discord. The Rising Hell objectives are going to be the new way to farm Promethium, which is key to accessing the endgame loot grind, and is a decent little fun minigame instead of mindlessly repeating missions, which still also will grant Promethium too. You'll get 3000 Promethium for it, and they're also looking at improving the loot drops for doing it too. The exploding modifier on enemies is looking at getting a change, especially when enemies are defeated by certain close quarters abilities, and legendary items are also getting a bit of a pass by the looks of it, and to be honest there are some great choices, so it'll be interesting to see what goes on in that respect. Generally, not too much to go on other than going over recent patch details, and I was hoping for more teasers for future season 1 content, but I guess we'll wait a little bit longer. So if you're still stretching for a new build, then maybe check out this one next.